In 1990, in response to growing concerns about a number of social issues and problems affecting children and youth in our community, business, social services, and government leadership came together and decided we needed to do something to promote the positive development of youth in our community. They formed a coalition that became the Bartholomew County Children, Youth, and Families Initiative. The leaders of this initiative hired Karen Pittman, who was then the director of the Academy for Educational Development's Center for Youth Development and Policy Research in Washington, D.C. Karen has led a number of initiatives and programs focused on youth development over the years, and she is now the president and CEO of the Forum for Youth Investment and its Ready by 21 initiative. In 1993, after having spent some time with the leaders of this initiative, they asked Karen to speak at a public meeting and talk with members of the community about her approach to the initiative we were about to undertake. I had the privilege of attending that meeting, and Karen Pittman's message that day rocked my world. Karen talked about the fact that in our traditional view of youth at risk is a long continuum, and at one end of that continuum are exceptional gifted students in whom we tend to invest a significant number of resources because we see those young people as our future leaders and innovators. At the other end of that continuum are our high-risk youth, delinquent youth, young people involved in the juvenile justice system. At that end of the continuum, we invest resources in prevention and intervention strategies. The reality of that continuum is that the majority of our kids fall between those two ends. And there are no exceptional investments of resources in those children because there's an assumption that those youth will be okay, that they will be problem-free. The reality of youth risk, according to Karen, is that every young person is at risk, that young people throughout their lifetime move in and out of risk based on life circumstances. There may be a death of a parent, that parents may divorce, they may experience some trauma that was unanticipated. So a student, a young person who was making straight A's, active in the community, active in sports, doing well, may suddenly become a youth at risk because they've lost their sense of confidence, their sense of support and safety in the community. With this, Karen forever changed the way I would look at doing youth work. Positive youth development is a comprehensive way for us to think about the development of adolescents and all the factors that facilitate their successful transition from adolescence to adulthood. If we want all youth to have positive outcomes, we must provide all youth with positive expectations, experiences, and we must allow them to meet those expectations, being acknowledged and rewarded when they do so. And we tend to get hung up on thinking that acknowledging and rewarding those positive outcomes has to be more than great job, thank you, what a great success. And that reward and acknowledgement is really that simple. In 2010, the Coalition for Youth Justice published a document called Positive Youth Justice. This document was authored by Jeffrey Butts, Gordon Bazemore, and Andra Moreau. This document really claimed positive youth development as a process and approach that not only could be but should be used in working with justice-involved youth. They also point out that the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act supports positive youth development when it says programs for positive youth development that assist youth in obtaining a sense of safety and security, a sense of belonging and membership, a sense of self-worth and social connection and contribution, a sense of independence and control over one's life, and a sense of closeness in interpersonal relationships should be the goal of state advisory groups and state systems serving youth, justice-involved youth. So the positive youth development approach really has 4 components with youth at the center. The first component is preparation, and this is so much the work of Karen Pittman today with Ready by 21. It says we need to prepare all young people for the future, not just gifted young people, not just troubled young people, but all young people in our communities. And preparation means that they're ready for school, they're ready for work or continuing education after they finish high school. They're ready for life and all the circumstances it brings. That involves participation. We have to give young people opportunities to participate in sports, the arts, all kinds of extracurricular activities, in cognitive curricula that help them develop good communication skills, good leadership skills, all those soft skills that young people need to be successful in the workplace and the world. It also means we have to give them opportunities for shared leadership. Young people have been the victim of adultism, adults wanting to direct all of their activities and decision making. Positive youth development is about we provide the parameters for young people to work in, to make decisions, and to facilitate and make determinations for themselves about what their participation will be. If they wish to be in a leadership role, those opportunities exist. If they don't, then they have the ability to actively engage and participate at whatever level they choose. And finally, positive outcomes. So youth really need to have opportunities to feel they are competent, to build self-confidence, for character development, and for connectedness, and being in relationships based on caring and concern. Those are 4 fairly simple things for us to integrate into juvenile justice programming. All of these things lead to resiliency. So resiliency is really the power, the ability to return to our original form. This means that when young people are faced with challenges, they have the ability to meet those challenges, come through those challenges, and still be healthy and able to succeed. This is also about our attitudes toward young people. It requires that we believe every young person has strengths, that we help young people identify those strengths, and then we give them opportunities to learn how strength in one area can help them develop strength in another area. It suggests how young people can continue to use those strengths in the future. As much as anything, it requires on our part patience and persistence. So positive youth development has some very fundamental principles. So I need to start this by saying positive youth development is not a program. It's an approach to implementing programs, to doing any of the work we do with young people. So positive youth development, first and foremost, which I've already said, is for all youth, regardless of where they fall on the continuum. It's also an intentional process. It doesn't happen by accident. We have to be planful in creating opportunities for young people to have positive outcomes. It also complements other work, so it's not a replacement for prevention programs or intervention programs. It is a way of implementing those programs. It's complementary to that work. It's very strengths-based, so we acknowledge young people's strengths, and again, we help them employ those strengths in other areas of their lives. Adults set the structure, but young people then are employed in making decisions about what will come next. It involves youth as active agents. So we don't do programs to and for youth. We engage youth in the process of developing, planning, and implementing programs and activities that we invest in with them. It's about leadership development as well. Leadership is a choice. We don't make an assumption and we don't force young people into leadership positions, but we ensure that there are opportunities available for them if they wish to play a leadership role. And finally, we really need to help young people understand the value of civic contributions. This can be volunteerism, service to other groups of young people in the community. It helps them become contributing members of our community, which is what we want for everyone. Again, positive youth development is not a program, it's an approach to doing our work. Positive youth development is also about strong attachments. Our ability to engage and connect with young people is one of the most important aspects of our work. There's tremendous research that tells us that attached youth experience improvements in school, peer relationships, and decreases in delinquent behavior. Youth positive connections to at least one caring adult in their life means that they engage in fewer risky behaviors. Travis Hershey says in his book, Causes of Delinquency, relationships, commitments, and beliefs encourage us to behave in a law-abiding manner. This is what we want for young people, particularly those who are engaged in delinquent or risky behavior. If we want to positively impact youth's decision-making, we must be in meaningful relationship with them. We must support them. We must help them to develop useful skills and competencies. We must provide them with opportunities to belong and have a sense of connection. We must expect and reward positive behavior. And most of all, we must demonstrate to young people our belief in their ability to experience positive outcomes. Thank you.